All right, you are tuning in to sjspr.radio. This is Senior Talk, the show where we pick seniors' brains about school life and real life. I'm your host, Mariana Toro.
And I am Amanda Rodríguez.
And as this is the first episode, the beginning of hopefully a good long run of this show, Senior Talk, it is also the beginning of the school year. We're going to talk about what we thought was going to happen, our expectations, how things have changed, how we feel finally being back as fully as we can in school. And with that being said, Amanda, how's senior year so far?
I mean, I love being a senior.
Yeah.
I love being back in school and back with, the people that have grown up to be my family.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to be here. I mean, things are obviously different,
Yep.
and none of us could have ever imagined the way that school would have, turned into this.
Yeah.
But I think we're so lucky to have had the opportunity to be here. We somewhat expected that we would be the first class, really back. But now, we're setting a path towards a new beginning here.
Mm-hmm.
Things that'll, maybe change and stay this way, and things that may not be this way in a year, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe we have just had to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we all know how lucky we are to be here, and we just have to take advantage of that.
True, I definitely agree. I think that this whole uncertainty surrounding everything, surrounding the pandemic and just life, has taken a toll on a fair number of people. I know that I'm someone who very much likes to be in control. It's not the best trait or the worst trait, but
It's a trait.
It's a trait. It definitely is a trait. But if anything, the last 14, 15 something months have taught me is that you just have to go with the flow and take life as it comes. And senior year has been great so far. I mean, the counselors were not lying when they said that the work would be a whole nother class.
Oh, yeah.
That is college applications. Your college counselors are not kidding when they say that your college application work is literally worth another class, because there is so much, but you have so much time. It's so strange because it's also spread out.
I'm not gonna lie, it feels more like an AP class than
Oh my God, yeah.
a class. Just because the workload, I have some classes where it's sure, I'll have little assignments here and there, but this is hours of work, and then I don't even feel finished afterwards.
Exactly.
It's a lot of pressure, but I don't think it's this whole oh my God, I'm going to cry about it. You just have to set expectations for yourself. I think the best advice I could have gotten into it was just to work smarter, give yourself the time, plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Do not procrastinate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were always times in the summer where I was okay, I'm gonna work on my personal essay a little bit. I know the
Totally.
Common App isn't open, but start preparing for that. And now here I am. It's almost October, and I can definitely say my personal essay is not done.
Mine
but
is not either.
that is totally okay.
I am lucky in the sense that with Miss Erickson's class, shout out to you, Miss Erickson, in our creative writing class, we're working on our memoirs, and in some cases you can use that as your college essay. I think I am going to do that, but at the same time, something that I didn't realize I would struggle with is the word count. Because I wrote the first draft, and it was 1,000+ words.
Well, honestly, I'm not surprised that's happening with you.
You with me? Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm
very verbose.
I said right before we started this, you have a lot going on in that mind of yours. Shout out to Miss Bea as well, because we're doing the same thing. Because different teachers, but it is literary criticism class.
Creative comp.
I think, honestly, I recommend that class to future seniors and such, because you know, you get to write not only about like your emotions, what's going on, you get to learn to be a more honest writer. Well, we've had this like academic training for so long, you know.
And I think
I've been working on what could be my personal essay in that class too. But like I've also made a lot of realizations through it. I've like discussed this with you before, but you know, I think a big lesson that I've learned throughout the process of writing that essay is things are not going to come out the way that you expect them, as I mentioned before with the senior year topic. But it may come out for the better. It may bring out new things that you didn't even know were there and allow your work as a whole to flourish.
Yeah, and it's interesting now because now that can lead me to another question I have here, and it's how do you think the pandemic has affected like how you view going to school or how you are as a student? Because I know it's affected me, but I want to know if that's
I don't even
It's
know where to
universal.
start.
Oh my god.
I think before the pandemic, I was handling a lot of what I could consider like the worst times of my life so far. I just, like, looking back now, I wish I would have been a better student. I wish in some aspects I would have had a better attitude. But at the same time, I didn't know what was coming. And I had a lot of things that were influencing me that I didn't have control of. So after this pandemic, I feel like, though, if someone asked me if we could go back in time, the thing is I would feel like morally corrupt because I'd be like, I've changed so much and I've changed for the better and I'm so happy for that. But if I could go back in time, I would consider all the lives that were lost, like all, you know, people having to leave their homes, their jobs, like a lot of bad effects have obviously come through it, but I feel like there's a reason that things happen. And in my case, like, it just let me come out of my shell, like this shell that people thought I didn't have. Like, I was already a very extroverted person, but, you know, now I feel like I'm better. Like, I'm not just saying things to get people's attention and stuff. I'm finally doing things for myself. And all this time in solitude, we had a lot of time to get to know ourselves. Like, reintroduce ourselves to ourselves because you know, we spent all this time, like especially as actors, worrying about how other people are going to see us, about how our peers are going to see us, our teachers. And it's weird to come back into a place that people are going to expect you to be a completely different person and they're going to treat you the way that they used to treat you. And then when you first got here, I'm sure you were like, I'm not this person anymore. And that's when you probably acknowledge the change more than ever. But little by little, people are getting to know you all over again. And that is going to set a path for a whole brand new set of healthy relationships and also allow you to say, this person doesn't belong in my life anymore. And that's okay because this is what we're doing now. We're preparing for a new chapter and making the best of what we've got left.
Exactly. Yeah, I get that. I totally agree with that last bit of, like, we're all getting to know each other again. And I think that the pandemic and the quarantine and, like, that time period just has given me the opportunity to let people get to know me because if you know me or don't know me, maybe you see me around school, you see that I am very no nonsense, very workaholic, but I still am very much overachieving.
It's the Capricorn moon.
It's the Capricorn moon. Drop your big threes in the comments, guys. And I like that has not changed, but I let myself now have more fun, even though there's this quality about that senior year has specifically. It might be just a me thing, that a bad habit I've developed, but I always feel like I'm behind. I always feel like
I
I'm...
don't think you're alone.
Yeah, exactly. I have become more of a procrastinator during the pandemic. I just see less importance in the things that I do for school, because it's like I mean, at least junior year was like that, because I was like I'm home, like I don't really have any motivation to really do anything. I just want to sit and do nothing.
Well, I think a lot of us have developed this mentality that's like, oh, is this going to matter in a week?
Exactly.
Is this going to matter in a month?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's not, I'm not going to stress myself out. And
Exactly.
I do think that's a healthy mentality.
Yeah.
But I believe parts of the pandemic, though they have shaped us into being better people,
Definitely.
have made us a little more lazy.
Yeah.
And we're definitely coming out of that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there were days where we were like, oh, we have hybrid tomorrow. I don't have to finish all of this.
Yeah.
Or I'll just, BS what I'm going to do for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a mentality that I can admit I have had, because I know that a good 99% of our class has had.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And students in general too.
exactly. You're not alone.
No,
You're not alone.
yeah, I know. I just have this like mentality. I don't know. But yeah, I like that the pandemic has given me the space to like be by myself and get to know myself, so that I stop caring about what other people might be saying about me or might not be saying about me. Like, I really just don't care anymore. Like, I really
As
just,
you should.
I just want to do well in school, and I want to get into college and do that, because it's what is crazy to think about is that a year from now, we're literally, like, our lives will have been turned upside down. We're going to be in completely different places geographically and mentally, and we're going to look back at ourselves now and be like, oh, like, she had completely different expectations as to what was going to happen.
idea.
She had no idea what was about to go down.
But I'm really, I know we're putting in the work. I'm really hoping for the best.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to imagine that so many people have been through this process before us. But at the same time, we're going through it very differently,
Yeah.
especially with this new virtual platform. Like, even though things are turning into this sense of like, oh, things are normalizing, everyone's vaccinated, whatever.
But, like, not really. Like,
exactly. Like, Mariana and I, like, we have a virtual meeting with a college today, as actors, we have to complete these things known as pre-screens. We have to do a lot of virtual auditions. Like, this is
Yeah.
not the things that we were mentally prepared for
Yeah.
the last 4 years. But that's okay, because I
Yeah.
think more than anything in this time, we have learned that we can do it. We've already achieved a lot of things virtually.
mm-hmm.
And it's something that we're going to have to adapt to, because I'm sure some things will stay this way. Like, oh, if you don't have to particularly travel for this, why don't we just meet virtually?
Exactly.
It's easier, time efficient.
Yeah, and now with like
Financially
online school,
great.
Yeah, and now with like online school, it's like if you don't feel well or something's going on that for some reason you can't go to school, you're traveling, whatever, you can go to school, but it's just going to be virtual, and that is something that like
I don't
I wouldn't
recommend
have
it,
imagined.
though.
No, yeah, it's not the best, but it's something that you can do now, and something that's like, oh, you're traveling, like, that's not an excuse, just like go to school from your computer. And I don't like online school. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it flat out. I do not like it. I am very ADHD. I get distracted. I space out. I can't look at a screen for that long, and I can't sit at my desk at the same place for that long. I burn out really easily. I'm very happy to be back here, and we'll be avoiding online school as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think, like, I don't have this hatred towards online school.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I don't want to do it if all my friends are here.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year we were exposed to
Mhm.
COVID, and
Yep.
luckily we didn't get it.
Yeah.
But just like, you're scared because you're just sitting there
'Cause
on
it's
this
always a
little
possibility.
screen, and you're like, oh, what if I have it? What if I don't? And you're just waiting and waiting, and like
Mhm.
you're seeing your friends have all this fun in the classroom while you can't even like incorporate your ideas into a conversation, because
Yeah.
you're there,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not really there.
And the teachers sometimes, like, like now that it's not fully hybrid, like the teachers forget that that's like a thing that happens, that like
they're
teachers
there.
like like I have to like get the online class started now, because if not, the person here or there isn't going to be able to take class. And it's like I don't feel engaged. At least I don't feel like the teacher is as engaged with the online students
Not
as
at
the
all.
person. And
They've
I don't
admitted
blame
it.
them.
Yeah, they've admitted it, and that's
Like,
totally like, because they're having these conversations in the class, and a big thing that has changed in this time is that people have become a lot more expressive. Like, it's not just going to be down to the book information. People want to talk about their ideas. They want to express their opinions. So much has happened in this time that doesn't even have to do with the pandemic. There's been a huge rise in activism, in spirituality. Like, people have allowed themselves to embrace this complex side to themselves.
Yeah, a lot of these things become like commercialized, and it's like there's a good side and a bad side to it, particularly if you're a TikTok user, as Amanda and I both are. There's a lot of there's a lot of information spread that could be false, a lot that could be true, that comes from a genuine place, a lot that comes from a genuine place but is simply not true. Like, and it is interesting how we have become like wrapped up in that in some ways. And I really value like classes like Historia de Puerto Rico and AP Psychology that have put an emphasis so far on like research and the importance of having sources and checking your biases and
really
other people's
identifying
biases,
that bias,
and like using the correct language. And I really love that. I love like the idea of like research and like learning things and like, you know, like like
definitely.
You know?
But yeah, like with this stuff like TikTok, whatever, it's brought a lot of intensity into our conversations. And obviously, if they're having these conversations in person and then there's people at home, like there's no way you can engage in that. It's this whole completely different set of energy. So I feel like when I went back home, it was like a test to prove to myself, like, I don't want to go through this again. I mean, I just remember like laying down there through our like possibly English class maybe. And I was just like, you know, I'm listening to what these people are saying, but it's not like
I'm hearing the words, but like...
But it's not even just like that expression of one ear, like in one ear and out the other. It's literally just that you don't feel like you're there anymore. Like, if the whole, it's one of those things where I feel like if the whole class isn't in person, if the whole class isn't virtual, it is definitely not complete.
Yeah, but I just feel very grateful
to be here.
That I'm here and that I'm talking to you in person, that I'm here in person, that I get to talk to my teachers in person about any questions or just anything, because the teachers here are really cool.
Oh, for sure.
Like, love you guys. But
shout out to the staff.
Shout out to the staffalty. Nah, but listen, and you know, as we look at what we're grateful for, what is it that with the new expectations, with the ever-changing expectations, let's say, like, what are you looking forward to for the rest of the semester, the rest of the year?
I think I'm definitely looking forward to being done with college applications because I feel like I'll have the time and, like, just opportunity to do a lot of things without all the stress of scheduling and whatever. But, I mean, of course, I'm looking forward to the musical.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward for all these, like, little fun projects that we'll be able to do in the Thespian Society to get some of my clubs started back up. Like, I participate in Fashion Club, TED Ed, Film Club. Like, these are all some really fun clubs with some wonderful people, wonderful advisors. And, you know, I think I can say the thing I'm most excited for is to be active. Hopefully do basketball again. Like, these are things that a lot of people look at like, oh, these are just things I want to do so I can put it on my Common App on the activity section. Like, no. Through some really hard points in my life and even through some of the best, like, these activities have been there.
Yeah.
They've, like, shaped me into the person that I'm becoming. And I think I can just say that I'm looking forward to things just hopefully getting better by the day, like,
Yeah.
In the whole, like, COVID sense, like, to feel safe working with each other. And, like, winning these little awards all over again and just participating
Yeah.
and really not just saying, like,
and, like,
I did
spirit
this, like,
points and, like-
exactly, like, later this year, and it's gonna come a lot faster than later, we're gonna start realizing, like, we're going through our, like, last first times, like, we already finished our last first day, we had our senior entrance, we already had our first, like, senior welcoming party, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Um,
For some of us, our first musical audition.
yeah, I mean, this just happened within this last week.
Or just last musical audition overall, because, like, it's not the first one.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
But, I feel like I didn't realize how grateful I could be for these things because it felt so, like, anxiety-inducing at a time and everything. And now I'm here and I'm calmed down and I'm like, hey, I can do this. And I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, and when you finish your college apps, what do you see yourself doing with all that free time?
I'd love to have some of that time to exercise.
Yeah.
I feel like I haven't had all the time in the world to take care of myself. I'd love to get a healthy sleep schedule in there. I think I'm just going to prioritize a lot of that time for self-care, for putting more work into my performance. Just, I'm already in the process of becoming a better person, and that's exactly what I want to continue to do.
Yeah.
We want to come into this whole new college world being the best version of ourselves.
For sure.
Or at least the best version we can be at that time. I think it's, like, in this time I've also realized, like, in these, like, petty little things that we want, like, they're not going to be as big of a deal in the future. Like, hello, look at us with, like, the senior lounge or the school play.
Our senior area, so
exactly.
True.
Like, these are all things that we know we're already going to miss because we expected them. Especially, like, us with, like, the school plays. Theater children.
Yes, of course.
But, like, now with the free time that we're going to have and all the time that we don't have right now, where it feels like all we can do is beg for more hours in the day, you realize, like, the importance of things, and then you keep on talking and talking with people, and you're like, why am I talking so much? Because things are starting to matter, like, we are about to become adults. I mean, you and I are going to be legal within the month.
Yup.
October 13th, everyone, please
October
remember.
31st. I was born on Halloween.
Yeah.
Quirky.
So I'm happy to get, like, these words from people, teachers, past friends and stuff that are like, I'm so proud of the person that you're becoming. I've seen the change.
Totally.
I love getting that, but I still, like, will always have this bit in my mind that I'm going to be striving to be better and to take care of myself and to take care of the people around me, which I know is a lot to expect. But I think, like, after all this pressure of things that are going to represent us for the next 4 years in our lives, like, we'll be able to really do that and not just say that we're doing that.
Right.
I'm sure, like, you feel that.
I get that, definitely. I am definitely looking forward to, like you said, like, the theater-related activities in the school. I'm looking forward to the musical.
ITS president.
Yup. Here we have, for context, I'm the president of the International Thespian Society. No big deal, and Amanda here is our representative. I'm very excited for my ideas and to hear other people's ideas, the people that I want to bring in for the club. I'm very excited about the musical. Obviously, it's my last one. I've been doing the musical since 5th grade, since I came to St. John's for the first time, and it is my last one this year, and that's crazy that it's happening under these circumstances. But you know, it's all very wonderful, and I feel like after college apps, because like Amanda said, we're both applying for a bachelor's in the fine arts. And those require auditions and pre-screens and all that. So we're gonna
All that scary stuff.
Yeah, all that jazz. And then we're gonna have a lot of time consumed by videos that we have to film and our essays and our supplements and all that. So with that free time, once December 1st hits, I'm very excited to read. I have a lot of books. I have like 300 books on my to be read.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
I definitely wish I were you right now.
I love to read. Reading is like my favorite. Like if I weren't doing theater, I would totally be like a creative writing major, and like I don't care if people make fun of me for that. It is a useless major, but I love it. It's funny. There's this clip of John Mulaney that's like, I'm going to college to study literature of a language I already spoke. And it's funny. But yeah, I'm very excited to read. I have a lot of books that I want to read, and I've been I got back into reading this summer, and I really love it. I also want to exercise more at some point in time.
We can definitely do that together.
We definitely should.
Maybe like a nice yoga class, so we can finally.
That would be fun, or like a dance class.
Calm ourselves down from all this energy we've been having. I mean, you know, I know we sound somewhat put together right now, but as I'm sure that all the seniors have been going through to an extent, there's a lot of mania.
A lot of stuff happening all at once. All our
there
minds
are
tears.
buzzing.
There are tears, and there's rage, and there's angst.
Yeah. So much angst.
So
I mean,
true.
in this time, like, so many of us have gotten into this, like Y2K aesthetic.
Y2K core. So
yeah,
true.
and then, like, watching these movies from, like, the late 80s, early 90s.
A lot
and
of
now
nostalgia.
all of us are really just getting in touch with our inner Winona Ryder.
True. So true. But yeah, looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to College Acceptance Day. That is a day, the ideal version of that day replays in my head over and over, and I just, I will meditate and I will journal and I will ensure that it happens to some extent,
Manifest that. I think I'm honestly going into it with no expectations. Like, I'm honestly just trying to see what I can do for right now, because it's like, I don't want to think of what's going to happen then without even knowing what, like,
exactly.
Not having everything put together for right now. I think it's such a scary thought, and I admire you for even being able to think about it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know. Like I said before, I'm kind of I'm a little bit of a control freak. I know people who are more of a control freak than I am, but I kind of am. And I have very specific expectations for things, but as we have learned, these are unprecedented times. And I guess that's the moral of this pilot, is that have no expectations, go with the flow, live life to the fullest, as eat, pray, love as that may sound.
Or as Renee would say, live, laugh,
love. Love. Shout out to Renee. We love you, girl.
We
and
do.
Yeah, with that is our first episode of Seniors Talk.
We hope you enjoyed the slight chaos.
We hope you enjoyed the chaos and the nitpicking of our brains, and hopefully we'll be back. Hopefully I'll be back. Hopefully Amanda will be back.
We'll forward to it.
That's another thing we're looking forward to.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Have an excellent day today.
Cool. And every day.
Yeah.